All right, Cancer. So you're pulling really difficult ones this time. Now, from Le Vampire, you pulled transgression, flaws, contradictions, and mistakes. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled isolation. Now, transgression, the blessing here says when we go against our integrity, our soul will let us know. And if we continue to deny that inner voice, the universe will show us where we are going wrong. Working with this card says make amends, take stock, assess, and redirect, and come back into harmony with the voice of your soul. What bothers me here, though, is isolation showing up next to it. So, if you feel like you have made a mistake, isolation is not the best thing to do. You don't want to go into, that forced solitude because you feel like you've done something wrong and you're really not sure on how to move forward. Now, the inspiration here says, do not wait for the right time to live your life. You are on the verge of something big, but if you don't participate, it could pass you by. The personal question says, do you know the difference between isolation and solitude? The key ideas are self-protection, making excuses, over-preparing, never feeling ready to take action, and then the key words are experiences and celebration and play. So, you know what? So what? You may have made a mistake. Big deal, right? We all make mistakes. That's how we learn from shit. But going into isolation is not the right way to go because it's saying that you're going to let experiences pass you by just because you may have made a mistake and done something that didn't turn out so well. All right, Cancer, here we go. Here's the energy coming through. What the hell? What is up with that? The Three of Swords. So right now, for some of you, you may be focused on some heartbreaking situations here. Heartbreak, separation. Needing to understand why you're still in this, why your focus is still there. That's why they say getting to the heart of the matter and needing to possibly do some forgiving. And not just forgiving of others, but, forgiving yourself for allowing yourself to be in a situation where you can be hurt like this. But I don't like it. I don't like it, but it makes sense why isolation is there. And in the past, the Seven of Cups, so not thinking clearly, doing some wishful thinking. My problem with the Seven of Cups is, if you're in La La Land, you may not be seeing, the right choice for you, and you may have a lot of options around you, but it's saying that, you may be fantasizing about something. But again, it's not seeing the clear choice. Priorities is what's important there. And I worry here. Okay, in the present, the Knight of Cups. Now, in terms of this situation, first of all, when you're looking at the Knight of Cups, yeah, it's that offering. He's offering that cup, There's that offering of love and romance. It's also about following your heart. The problem is with the Knight of Cups is he just kind of goes wherever his emotions are directed. So I've always said with the Knight of Cups, actions speak loudly here. Now, for some of you, I kind of worry that you, and this may only apply to some of you here, but what I'm getting from this is that some of you may be making an offering, but not having really dealt with what's happening here first, which is why you have the Seven of Cups above this. But, I don't like it next to the Three of Swords. For those of you who are looking at offers being presented to you, I would, I wouldn't be too quick to accept or deny for that matter. And again, that's only because you have the Three of Swords here. There's something that needs to be worked out. In future conditions, much better. Now, the Ace of Pentacles is suggesting that, for some of you, it's there, but I think some of you are hitting a delay here looking at the Three of Swords, but it is a new beginning. It is a new practical beginning. It has the potential to be sustainable for you. I'd like seeing this rather than the Ace of Cups, honestly, with what you have going on here. But the problem is I feel like it's there for you. It's just that some of you are having a hard time getting there. Only because, again, Your best path to follow. Look at the threes. The Three of Wands. Okay, so now basically what Spirit is saying here is you may have to wait a minute here before you can start to see this happen for you. Right? If you're taking the right actions here, you're going to be able to see things start to manifest for you. You're waiting to see how things are going to develop, but it is a period of waiting. And it's because, you know, before you can see how things are going to manifest, this has to be cleared up first. It has to be cleared up because this just is no good. It bothers me. It bothers me seeing that, and I worry a little bit. Don't make any offerings if you haven't dealt with something that is pressing here, that needs to be looked at, you know. And forgiveness. If you made a mistake, damn it, it's time to start forgiving yourself. You know, you don't want to hang on to that. You don't want that to be your central focus or your central issue. You know, this is something that can be worked through. You know, and the Three of Wands being here is suggesting that you're going to take the right actions, right? Because you go from the Ace to the 2 to the 3. You're making those decisions to start taking action here. And now you're just waiting. You're waiting to see how things are going to develop. But I do see, you know, here it looks good. It's just, you know, that's got to be dealt with first. Now, in your environment, the Six of Pentacles. So now, you know, even give and take, right? There needs to be an even give and take, especially if there's an offering being made or accepted. Either way, it can't just be a one-sided thing. You know, but again, for some of you, receiving an offering here, right? But what's important here is that you make sure that things are balanced with the Six of Pentacles being there, you know. And you know, I kind of worry looking at this too. You know, how much are you giving into a fantasy, right? But in connection with the Knight of Cups again, you know, it can't be a one-sided situation here, you know. And the only way to make sure that that isn't the case is, you know, if this is cleared up, right? And maybe that's what you're working toward here, is clearing this up, you know, so that there can be this new beginning here, not just emotionally for you, but practically, grounding, good, long-term, right? Real. And I like the idea that, you know, this new beginning is what you're receiving here too, as well, right? But again, you know, equal give and take. Your hopes and your fears, the Six of Swords, and it makes sense, you know. It makes sense that you're hoping to move away from that kind of conflict here so you can start to see things clear up. And for Cancer to move into a more emotionally calming situation. Because with the Seven of Cups, it's just not there, not connected to the Three of Swords. You know, there is that sadness there. This is something that you're going to have to do. You know, you're going to have to deal with the difficult things as you're moving along here into that calmer position, those calmer shores, right? But it's good that your focus is there as far as a hope. The fear would be that it takes too long. It takes too long for you to move through that. But I'm not seeing the Knight of Pentacles here. So, you know, really it's going to be up to you on the work that you do to get away from that kind of conflict here before you can even think about giving or receiving anything here as far as, you know, new emotional experiences, love, romance. Emotional connections. You know, this has to be worked out first before you can get there. And then the outcome. And you know what I like about this is that I've always said that the King of Cups for me really is Cancer. It really feels like Cancer to me, where the Queen of Cups like is more Scorpio. This is Cancer. Especially with you guys being connected with the Chariot, getting control over your emotions. And you look good coming out. Now, for some of you, you know, this is a new beginning for you, or it's a new beginning possibly having to do with another person, and it could be a water sign, but I feel like that's you. That is you coming out. We're going to clarify the King of Cups here. Oh, very nice, Cancer. Very nice. So my clarifiers I like to look at as past, present, future. So in the past, you have the Four of Pentacles hanging on too tightly to shit. Then you have the Hermit. But when you come out of that, you have Temperance. You know, having that nice, even balance there, and it looks good. So when you take a minute here to do some soul searching, Temperance is saying that things are going to be a little bit more balanced out for you, but definitely getting control over your emotions, having that nice, even give and take between your desires, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. It has the feeling of the Chariot. It's funny, but it looks good, Cancer. It's just, I don't like that Three of Swords. I don't like that it's there. I don't like that for some of you, you may still be hanging on to that junk. You know, it's something that you're going to have to work through. But again, I would be careful here about anything being offered or you making any offering. Speak your truth and new growth. Hell yeah, new growth. Absolutely. Speak your truth. What is your truth? You know, and before you're able to speak your own truth, you have to start treating yourself better. You know, you can't go into isolation because you feel like you made a mistake. You know, and so what? You know, we make mistakes, but if we never learn from them, we never get anywhere. We stay stuck. But you have an opportunity here for new growth. But speaking your truth, treat yourself better and know what your truth is so that you can start speaking it. Trust. The situation is calling for you to have faith. So trust that things are changing for you, that there won't be any heartbreak. And for those of you who are going through this, trust that, you know, this is going to end in a way where I feel like things are going to be a little bit more balanced for you. And there may be a reason why you may be going through this. You know, trust that something new is coming in and that there will be some new growth. Healing family issues, your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. Now, yes, definitely, especially if there are family issues within a relationship, you know, that could be the in-laws, you know, dealing with your immediate family in general, children, spouse, but there needs to be some healing of some issues here. Now, on the other hand, you know, if you feel like somebody has made a mistake, you know, it's still you going into isolation is the mistake here, you know, for you. And again, if you feel like you have done something and made a mistake, it's okay, right? Shit happens, but we have to learn from it. We have to move on. We have to do the healing. We need to work through these things. But isolation, Cancer, is what worries me. You know, don't force yourself into isolation here because the rest of your life may be passing you by. Okay, Cancer, so this one's a little bit difficult. And again, you know, with this being a general reading, thank God it's not going to resonate with everybody. But for those of you who are dealing with this, a mistake was made somewhere, whether it's on your side or somebody else's side. But isolation is not the right way to go. You know, if you're doing this, it's time to come out of this now. And for some of you, you may just be in solitude and doing that self-protecting, which makes sense. And for a lot of you, you're hoping to move away from this nonsense. Now, there is a possibility here where there may be, you know, a new offering here. But I worry about actions with this. And I would say to some of you, just be careful about accepting any new offers or making anything until you have emotional clarity. Because the Seven of Cups is suggesting that it's not there or it wasn't in the past. But I do feel like, you know, there is a potential here for you to receive a little bit more even give and take with this situation. I like seeing the threes, but I like seeing the sixes even more. And the only reason why I say the threes is because I feel like, you know, things are going to start to clear up here where you're going to see a little bit more progress in terms of getting past that heartbreak. The reason why I like the Three of Swords as far as there, and the reason why I hate it, is because you shouldn't be focused on it, but it's saying that it's not something that you're going to have to deal with in the future. It's right now. You know what it is. You know how to get through this. It's just being able to do that with emotional clarity. But the beauty here is where you come out at. with the King of Cups. Hell yeah, that is Cancer. And it does. It has this feeling of like getting control over your emotions. It has the feeling of the Chariot here. You may have been hanging on to some shit. But looking at the Hermit, looking at isolation, I feel like, you may be doing that temporary solitude and doing some healing here and looking for some deeper answers, but Temperance coming out looks really good. Again, even give and take. The even give and take between, what you're wanting, what you're desiring, getting control over your emotions. It does. It has the feeling of the Chariot. So I do like where you come out here. Now with the Soul Trees. Treat yourself better, damn it. Treat yourself better, speak your truth, and new growth. There is a potential for new growth here. That Ace of Pentacles is there. It is there. It's just for some of you, it may be a little bit of a waiting game until you get through that energy of the Three of Swords there. But what is your truth? You're not going to know what your truth is and be able to speak it until you start treating yourself better. Now, as far as love goes, trust, for those of you who are single and maybe dealing with breakups here, you have to have trust that this situation is going to clear up. Trust that new things are coming in because there is new growth. And then the Ace of Pentacles is there for you, but you have to have trust in the situation. Go with it until you get to that point here where you feel like you have a little bit more control over your emotions. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, healing family issues, yes, healing, forgiveness. We make mistakes. We fuck up sometimes, but if we don't learn from it or try to move on from it, we just stay stuck. And the Four of Pentacles is saying that for some of you, you may be, but you're working through it. And eventually you'll get to the point here where I feel like you're going to be more in tune with yourself and having better control over your emotions.